Two avowed neo-Nazis have been arrested for plotting a terror attack against the Maryland power grid. Now, Brandon Russell, 27, and his girlfriend Sarah Clendaniel, 34, have been accused of plotting to assault 5 power substations that served the Baltimore area. An attack that Clendaniel had told a federal informant that would completely, quote, destroy Baltimore, said Eric Albaran, U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland. Look, I say that they're avowed neo-Nazis because, well, it's very clear that they are. When you look into their history, when you look into what they actually do, it's pretty obvious. Russell is the founder of Atomwaffen. Yes, Atomwaffen. That is a far-right neo-Nazi group. He was also jailed back in 2018 for having bomb-making materials in his apartment. Atomwaffen is a far-right neo-Nazi group that's been known to threaten journalists, African-American churches, and Jewish organizations. Russell Clendaniel somehow had been able to coordinate both behind bars. She had some issues as well, and had teamed up to attack power stations once they got out. And thankfully, there was an informant, and they were caught. Good. Thomas Sobocinski, lead agent in the FBI's Baltimore field office, called the couple, quote, racially or ethnically motivated extremists. So they basically had said that they were planning to attack power stations after a winter storm, when most people were using max electricity. Prosecutor said in a criminal complaint. Sobocinski said that Clendaniel told an informant that their goals were to, quote, lay the city to waste. Gee, I wonder why they would pick Baltimore. I think it's obvious. They wanted to make sure that people in the city, it's a majority black city, by the way, suffered in the cold, losing their electricity. And now the other part of it is, of course, wanting to start a race war. The accused, by the way, were not just talking, but taking steps to fulfill their threats and further extremist goals, according to Sobocinski. Before carrying out the attack, prosecutors say Clendaniel left a statement that referenced Hitler, the Unabomber, and Anders Breivik, the mass shooter in Norway, adding that she would have sacrificed everything for her people. Who are her people? I'm really curious to know whom she thinks her people are. Disgusting. She said, Clendaniel told the informant on January 29th, if we can pull off what I'm hoping, this would be legendary. Well, it's a legendary fail. And thank goodness it was. Thankfully, they did not succeed. But it's not like there haven't been attacks on infrastructure from right-wing terrorists. In fact, the program on extremism at George Washington University had issued a report in September that said that white supremacists had specifically become laser-focused on attacking the U.S. energy sector in the last 6 years. In fact, the Department of Homeland Security also issued a warning that infrastructure attacks were likely coming. That warning, posted in November to the National Terrorism Advisory System bulletin, said people of a wide range of ideological beliefs and personal grievances continue to pose a persistent and lethal threat to the homeland. Now, for one, I get really uncomfortable when anybody talks about the homeland. Like, that makes me super, super uncomfortable. I think for obvious reasons. But at the same time, the other thing that made me uncomfortable about that warning was people of a wide range of ideological beliefs. What do you mean wide range? No, the vast majority of these people are right wing. They're far right. They're Proud Boys. They're the sovereign citizens. They're anti-government extremists. The vast majority of them. And there's evidence of that. And so, FBI reports that show that the vast majority of terrorism that's happened in this country since 9/11 has been right-wing terrorism. Why go to the lengths of saying, it's a little bit of both, a little bit of left, a little bit of right? No, it's the vast majority far right. Call them out. I hate it when that happens because it creates a false equivalence. No, these again, they're right wingers, and I'm not saying all right wingers are terrorists, but I'm saying the vast majority of them, of the people who are planning attacks on the United States, are right wing. Call it out, call it out. But again, the I mentioned it earlier, but the sickening part of this is not just attacking the power stations. It's doing so in order to deprive people of something that they need in the middle of winter: heat, electricity, making it so that people, again, some of the most recent ice storms, for example, in Texas, left hundreds of people dead. Now, that's the fault of not of the, well, I mean, you can't really call it right wing terrorism, but it definitely was the right wing because it was, Governor Greg Abbott saying we don't need to regulate our power companies. Oh, no, we're going to deregulate them and then let them do whatever they want. And as a result, these power stations these power companies chose not to weatherize. So that when this happens, and yes, ice storms do happen, they were not prepared. Their infrastructure failed in the middle of winter, middle of this terrible ice storm, and people died. That might not be explicitly right-wing terrorism, but it is economic terrorism, in a way. Republicans, allowing this to happen, but I'm not trying to conflate the two different things. I'm just saying that right wing, not exactly great for this country. Whether it be allowing these corporations, these power companies, which, by the way, do share in some of the fault, they should actually, if there are so many threats against these power stations, this infrastructure, then why don't these companies protect it better? Why don't they? They probably should. Instead, what you have is very little protection because guess what? Turns out it costs money. Oh, that's the problem. It costs us too much money. We're too busy buying back our own stocks. They don't care about people either. Now, they're not going out of their way to kill people like, these neo-Nazis are. But the result ends up being the same. People will die as a result of not being able to access heat and electricity, things that they need to live, to cook, to survive. Sort of the same result there. Either way, I'm still super glad that they were not successful in this, but I would take this seriously. This is terrifying. Unhinged right-wing, members of the far right trying to kick off race wars, trying to deny people, shut off electricity, do these attacks. Middle of winter, it's beyond disgusting. And so I hope either of these people that are involved never see the light of day.